Everybody, it's Jen here doing my fourth in my lifted series. Today I am lifting Kelly Barron. I saw a layout of hers, which I will link below, on YouTube recently, and I just loved it, and I immediately started thinking about what papers I wanted to use and what photos I wanted to use, and yeah, so I knew it had to be my next lifted layout. I'm using my May Citrus Twist kit for this layout, and this Webster's Pages paper that I am using with the sort of watercolor dots on it. I just love it. Anything sort of soft and rainbow colors, like watercolor and rainbow right now, I'm just loving so much. And then this border strip that I'm just making right now is, I believe, from the new Amy Tangerine collection. And it matched so well with this watercolor paper. So I started out with the intention, because that dot paper is so busy, of making this a really simple layout. And Kelly's layout is I don't want to say simple because that makes it seem like she didn't put a lot of effort in it, which she totally did, but just not busy, which is really my style. I am not big on, doing too much, but I really liked this paper, and I thought it would be kind of fun to sprinkle around and sort of mimic that paper with just a bit of watercolor. So here you can see I'm just putting gesso on my background paper, and I figure it's just white cardstock, and we get a sheet in the kit, but I also have tons in my stash, so if I decide I don't like this, I could always turn it over or just get another sheet. So here I'm just showing you, I'm using wax paper, and I saw this technique on the Citrus Twist blog actually about sprinkling it on the wax paper and then using that to transfer it. So I do this, and what I was doing at the time was I was looking at the colors in the paper, so I actually have it sort of just right in front of me where you can't see it propped up, and trying to match as best I can. And I don't know if you noticed when I first brought the watercolor in, and I think I may actually show you when I'm finished doing this. What I did was I used a sheet of just scrap white cardstock, and I used a little tiny circle punch, and I cut a little circle for the top of each one of these paints. So it did take a little while, but not really. Like, I think honestly I had the whole thing done in like 10 minutes. But I really needed to see what these look like when they're actually on cardstock. And so instead of having to paint up a sheet and then keep a sheet somewhere and try to remember and pull it out and look at it and try to match them up, I just used a glue dot and stuck each one of those little circles in the indent on the lid on the top and matched it up. So you'll see, I'm pretty sure that I show you what I did, and that just helped me, and then I felt like I could match it or kind of get the color that I'm really looking for. So as you can see here, I've put quite a few different colors, but I think using this method, it's fairly subtle. Like, it's not, there's still a lot of white space, which is what I wanted. And then here, I just felt like I hadn't sprinkled it far enough out. There was too much that was actually underneath my paper, so you couldn't see it. So I got impatient, as I tend to do. And I get an idea, I just want to execute it and not take too much time. I just got my paintbrush nice and wet and sprinkled some just right onto the paper, and then I was just blotting it off with a tissue, because that's what I had handy. And yeah, just so that the paper didn't get too wet. Oh, there you go. So there you can see how I can actually tell what the color is going to look like when it's on the cardstock. So back to the layout. Yeah, so I did that, and I think I kind of moved it around from where I had intended to have it, but I just kind of circled the paper until I got, the look that I was going for. And then I had intended to put that little border strip underneath the photos, but it was covering up the dots on the Webster's Pages paper, which I just love to death, and so I couldn't do it. I put them over top, and it wasn't hiding anything in the photos. These photos are super old. This is my son. I'm thinking he's probably around 1, and he's going to be 13 in a month. So they are terrible, and I totally understand that, and I actually really like that wood tag there, which I don't end up using. Sorry, random thought. I noticed it and I thought, oh, that actually looks quite good. So the photos are all from different cameras and different exposures, because this was about 12 years ago. We had a really crappy, one of the very first digital cameras, and also we were using like the snap a photo function on our video recorder, and so they're terrible, and I can't really edit them because back then they were such low pixels, like it just doesn't work. So, but anyway, I'm using them anyways because I like them, and in all of these photos, my son is eating, and he's either got food all over his face or all over the tray of his high chair, or and you could just tell he's just so thrilled with eating. He just loved it. And ironically, this is the kid who we have fought with every night at dinner to actually eat. Yet as a toddler and an infant, he loved to eat, and eat everything. And now that he's becoming a teenager, he's starting to eat more, but he's picky, and I find that so funny, because seriously, he would eat anything when he was a baby, and he was like, me do. That was like one of his first little sentences that he made, me do. He wanted to feed himself, even like super young, like 9 months old. He wanted the spoon, like the little plastic spoon and the little mini go cup of yogurt. He wanted to do it himself. So yeah, it's funny. So I wanted to document the fact about how much he loved food and how much pleasure he took in eating, because I don't know, me and my husband, we just find it so funny that he changed quite a bit in between being 1 and being, 9 and 10 and 11. Thank goodness he's eating again now as he hits teenagehood. So I am busily embellishing away here. I'm using the die cut pieces and the cut up sheet from the May kit. These are from the Journey collection, and I keep forgetting to look up who is the Journey collection. I want to say it's We Are Memory Keepers, and I might be wrong. I'm not sure. Sorry, I really should have looked it up, but you guys probably know. So I'm happily embellishing away with those. I have that long tag there I'm going to do my journaling on, which I didn't really feel like I needed to write a whole bunch. And then right there underneath that hello is half of a die cut, and you're going to see the other half of a die cut on a layout I'm going to post this weekend. I love when I cut something in half because I only need part of it, and then I use the other half instead of it just sitting in my stash as a lonely piece of a die cut. Anyways, just wanted to say I love when I use them up. And I also love the fact that I'm using up this cut apart sheet. It's great, and I think I'll probably use some of it in my project life as well. But the colors match so well with the papers in the collection, which is cool. And then I'm also using these stickers that are in that kit. I don't remember what the font is called, but I think it's really cool. It might be the Alec font, just in a different color. I'm not quite sure. But I love how the centers are not cut out. I just think that makes them kind of fun. And I'm using that for the food. And then I'm using these tiny Webster's Pages stickers to spell out the rest of my title. And then I used that heart, that wood veneer heart, as part of my title as well, which I thought was kind of fun. So I used the heart as loves with an S beside it. And then very pretty gold arrow as well to point to my title, just to give it a little bit more pop up there, because the bottom layer, sorry for my head, the bottom clusters are much busier than that one. So I'm just putting yes inside that little clip. I just backed it with some paper, and then I am going to use a little stamp set that I got. Oh, sorry for my head in the way there. I'm just trying to get it on there properly, and I did use my tiny attacher as well to staple the paper to that metal clip. And oh, I'm not stamping yet. I'm just using the enamel dots that we got with the kit. These were from the newest Chamel collection. I think it's True Stories, and just putting a little bit of those on each of the. I think I put one on each as sort of a visual triangle around my photos. And I super love those borders. That didn't get used, but I was shopping it around because I love them so much. So I'm just about done here. Sorry, I'm cleaning up. I try not to clean up before, but it's like a compulsion. So this little stamp set I got as a thank you for signing up with Citrus Twist, and it has a whole bunch of variations of yes, and I thought it was really funny to sort of stamp that on there. What I am going to do, and I don't believe I do it on camera, is I end up moving this whole thing down, and then I have to re-stamp the yeses, and then I end up stamping them off so that you stamp it once and then you keep stamping it and it's lighter, so I end up stamping them off. And then it really wasn't sitting flat, so I end up cutting off two sides, sort of a la Wilma Furstenberg, where she just uses her scissors, so it's not even at all for me especially, and mounting this on a bit of red cardstock as well. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed. I really love how this layout turned out. I really loved that Webster's Pages paper and happy to have used it. And thank you so much to Kelly Barron for your inspiration. Bye now.